Birmingham, as you know, is a truly international city, and I'm delighted to be joined by an entrepreneur who represents that international nature of Birmingham. Born in Jamaica, inspired in Japan, and doing business here in the UK, Monique Farquharson, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Davies.
So good to have you in the studio today talking about all things matcha. But before we get into the conversation around matcha, I want to understand a bit about your story. Because Jamaica, Japan, UK, how did all of that happen?
That's a very good question. I mean, it's full circle, right? So, as you rightly mentioned, I was born in Jamaica, and when I was small, I always had this passion for Japan and everything Japanese. And I decided that I wanted to accomplish one goal in life, literally just one, and that is to go to Japan.
Interesting.
Yes. And what I did was I positioned absolutely every single thing in my life to accomplish that one goal. And then I so happened to go to Japan, and then now I'm in the UK.
So, what happened when you go to Japan?
So essentially, let's just take it back when I was in Jamaica. So when I was there, I had this affinity to entrepreneurship. And then I wanted to start my own business. And I was in university and there was this entrepreneurship competition. And I entered because I was thinking of starting a business in baking. Because as you know, I love to bake. And I was just not convinced that that was, what I really wanted to do. There was something that was missing. And it just so happened that some women introduced me to this fantastic product, matcha. I absolutely hated it.
Really?
Yes, I hated it. I did not like it at all. And then I was doing some research, for just interesting ingredients to bake with and that kind of thing. And then it popped up again. I was like, what? Why would they be using this to bake? Because when I tasted it for the first time, it really was not that good. But then I said, you know what? Let me see what, they're saying, because I was watching this video and then it said it's from Japan. Now remember, my one goal in life was to
go to Japan.
Exactly. So I said, because of this bias that I had, let me try matcha once more. And then I tried it again and my entire life changed. And when I tried it, it was just amazing. It had a whole host of health benefits. And then it was really helping me to stay up and be more productive, because that is one of the main reasons why I even drink matcha to this day. And it was so versatile because now I could use it in baking. And I said, that is what was missing. So I started my business, and then my customers, they kept asking me, how was Japan? How was your trip there? Because they automatically assume that since I'm selling a Japanese product, I must have visited Japan, right?
So matcha is a Japanese product.
Precisely, yes. So matcha essentially, let's get that definition there. So matcha is the green tea leaves. So like the leaves behind us, the leaves of the green tea, they ground it up into a powder, and then that powder is what is matcha. So this powder, it is high in antioxidants. It's good for your metabolism. It helps you to focus. It's just a natural source of energy. So it has a whole host of amazing health benefits. And as I mentioned, that is the reason why I started to drink it. And of course, it's versatile. So you can, bake with it, you can drink with it, you can do a whole host of things.
So it's not just a tea, because a lot of people think matcha and they think, oh, it's just one of those other green teas.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, to be fair, it is something that is normal and natural to think that way, because most of the times when you're introduced to matcha, you're introduced to it as matcha tea. So, and even traditionally in Japan, what they use matcha for traditionally is tea. So they, use their little bowls and then they mix matcha and they drink it. But matcha is so much more than a tea. And it's really when I went to Japan and immersed myself in the culture, that's when I realized that they use matcha in literally everything. So you have matcha in confectionery, you have matcha in baking, you have matcha in healthcare, you have matcha in skincare, you have matcha in hair care. It's just a world of amazing things that you can do with matcha. So it goes far beyond just a tea.
Fantastic. That is so refreshing to know, because for a lot of people, they might think, matcha is just tea, but to think that it could be used in so many different other spaces,
yes,
that is quite remarkable. Now, you've built a business around this entire product of matcha.
Yeah.
Tell us about the business and the ranges of product that you've got on it.
Sure. So what I have, and it's right in front of us here, I have the matcha powder. Because what I wanted to do, I wanted to start from the beginning, and this is how I was introduced to matcha as a powder first, right? And then from this, it's just a building block, because now you have this powder, and then you can use this powder into anything. And one of the things that I value is creativity, and that is what excites me so much about matcha, because I can be as creative as I want to be when I'm using my matcha. So I can make drinks with it, I can make pancakes, cakes, all sorts of amazing little, treats and that kind of thing. And I just absolutely love the flavor. And then when I'm whisking it, it's just a nice experience. So that's what we start with Petite Square. So we started with the powder. So we have our ceremonial matcha, because matcha has different grades. You have ceremonial and you have culinary, and we can get into those definitions. And the tin is where you put your ceremonial matcha in, and then you just store that in your cupboard. And now you have your whisk, because traditionally that's how you make matcha. So you use this bamboo whisk. So let me just take this up here. And you take this and you pour some water in a beautiful bowl. It's called a chawan. And you use this, which is called a chasen. So say that with me, Davies, chasen.
A chasen.
Yeah, and then you put it in a chawan.
Chawan.
Yeah, so that's what.
Lots of learning happening today.
That's right. And then you pour your matcha in the bowl, you add some water, and you just whisk it. And that is how you have matcha in the traditional way. And then you can use that as your base to pour that on ice cream, for example. So I'm not sure, are you familiar with affogato?
No, I'm not.
Davies, come on now. So affogato is basically when you have your espresso shot, like coffee, and then you just pour on that on some ice cream. So that's what an affogato is.
Interesting.
So with matcha, because we're throwing away coffee. Yes, I said it. We're throwing away coffee. So
She said it, not me.
So you throw away coffee and you just pour your matcha on ice cream, and it's beautiful.
That is quite interesting. It's quite a story. It's fascinating, and it is educative as well, because I didn't know a lot about chasen and the rest of these things that I've talked about today. So that's quite remarkable. So we've got the ceremonial matcha, you said?
So this one is a ceremonial.
Okay. And then so I buy that, I put it in the tin for safekeeping, and then I just use the whisk whenever it is I want to make my matcha. That's quite interesting. Yeah. Now, one of the things I want to talk about as well is the company itself. So the company is called Petite Squares.
Yeah.
Now, what is it that you look forward to with the company? Because we've started with this remarkable set of products. We've talked about all the fantastic benefits of matcha, and you've also expressed that creative side. And I've seen some of your videos, and guys, I could tell you those videos are really, really good. You should go check them out. They're probably going to inspire you to begin to do some creative work in matcha. But tell us about the company. Where is it headed?
Yeah, so let's just take it back. So as I mentioned, so we moved from Jamaica. So I had started Petite Squares when I was in Jamaica, and then my customers started to ask me, how was Japan? So because I wanted to first understand the product a bit more, and I take credibility and authenticity really seriously. So I wanted to make sure that whatever it is that I'm offering, I have seen it, I've felt it, I've worked with the actual suppliers, the actual manufacturers. So I went to Japan just to get that authentic experience, to understand the product. And then it's when I was there that Aston, they pretty much blessed me with a scholarship, and then that moved me to the UK to start my business here. So we've just launched in the UK Petite Squares, and we're located online, so that's petitesquares.co.uk, and these are our products. And in the future, what we're looking towards is basically transforming the matcha industry to showcase that matcha is not just a powder, but matcha is more of a superfood, an ingredient that you can inject into your daily life. And the next product that we're going to be launching is a beverage. So it's a beautiful beverage where you're just going to be fusing that Jamaican culture and that Japanese culture. So it's a spicy drink that is going to be coming out. It's going to be amazing. It's going to have that kick of ginger. Listen, you better look forward for that, Davies. It's going to be hot.
Can't wait to taste that. I'm sure that is going to be remarkable, because if there's anybody that can bring all of this together and make you work, it definitely is you. It's been fantastic having you on the show today, Monique. But just before we go, I'd like you to remind everyone that is watching about where we can find your product and where we can find those fantastic videos too.
Wonderful. Thank you, Davies. So you can find the products on petitsquares.co.uk. That's PETIT squares.co.uk. Just go online and you shop, get your matcha, and then you can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, everywhere at Petite Squares. So just follow us on Petite Squares, start, using your matcha, start making amazing things, and let's just make your perfect matcha.
Fantastic. Let's make your perfect matcha, she said. And I think Monique is the kind of entrepreneur that is the perfect matcha for Birmingham because she truly represents what the city is about. A city that is thriving with young people and old people and people of all shapes, sizes, colors, people from all over the world doing remarkable things in this fantastic city and making the city a true place of business. We'll be right back.